at that time, it wasn't really a business. There was no pure intention of like, hey, we can make a business from this, which obviously did become a business, but we'll get into that.
23.4 million subscribers, over 15 billion views, more than 6,000 videos. Want to know more? This is Jelly.
This is a nice setup. There's a lot of cameras here.
Yeah.
Which one do I look at? Which one's your main feed? This is the main feed? This is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Yeah, so my name's Jello. That's my real name, but I'm Dutch. So many people that don't speak Dutch struggle to pronounce it. So when I was younger, I was playing a lot of video games and spending a lot of time with people that spoke English as their primary language.
Of course.
And they struggled pronouncing my name. They called me Jello for most of my life. And so I was like, hey, well, what can I change it to? Can I change it to something funny? Can I change it to something cool? So I came up with Jelly. Yeah, so it's J-L-L-Y, like the food. But yeah, that's my online name. You can call me Jelly as well.
And I think it's safe to say that it worked.
Definitely.
The name you chose.
Yeah.
So
well, it's ironic, right? So we'll get into exactly what I'll do, what I'm doing for a living. But there's a lot of people from the United States that watch me, but my logo is actually a pudding, which in British English is called a jelly, but in American English you would call it a Jello. So I actually messed it up.
Okay, but it's about creating some interesting conversation topics, right?
Yeah,
it's like a Jello, jelly. So it's right there.
It's confusing, but just call me Jelly. That's my name.
So Jelly, what do you do?
So I play video games for a living. Yeah. Life's pretty good.
I love it. I mean, sometimes when people ask me, Christy, what do you do? Well, this and that.
Yeah.
You've done in 3 words. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much like when somebody asks me, what do you do? I say I play video games for a living. Obviously, it's a lot more than that. However, that's the simplest way to explain it. Mm-hmm. But my true passion is actually video, right? So I love creating content, posting it online, seeing what people think of it. And my second passion was playing video games, but I've managed to combine both of those. So I play video games for a living, but whatever I'm playing, I post that on social media, on YouTube primarily. And people watch it.
And to prove your point, I mean, that your passion is video, I mean, that's what you started studying, right?
Exactly.
I mean, exactly. Yeah. So I'd like to hear your story. I mean, you were born in a small town in Holland. Well, it's better you tell it than me.
Right.
So yeah, go for it.
I was born in a small town in the Netherlands, south of the Netherlands, so I have a very weird Dutch accent as well. And people that hear me speak Dutch, they're like, hey, are you from Germany or are you from Belgium? No, I am actually Dutch. But I think my weird Dutch accent helped me develop my English accent better because Dutch people that speak English, generally speaking, have a very strong Dutch, mother tongue behind there.
And there's no way to identify that one on you, I gotta say.
No,
I mean, there's no way. I mean, it's...
of course, when I was younger, my English was a little bit different, but we've adapted to where my demographic is and making sure that my English sounds like where the people that are watching me, that I'm from there, essentially.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, grew up in a small Dutch town, roughly 60,000 people live there. Beautiful city, but passion for video, passion for gaming at the same time. One of my first presents for Christmas that I remember was a video camera that I, used outside. We did some pranks. We, rang people's doorbell and ran and all this stupid stuff. But on top of that, I had a passion for gaming. And so back in, I believe it was 2005, 2006, when Google purchased a website named YouTube, I realized, hey, I have this website where I can post this stuff that I'm filming. And so I did. And I showed my friends that, and they loved what I'm doing. And so, the ball started kind of rolling there. And other people were also putting content on youtube.com, which was interesting. So you learned from each other. It was a really small community.
Obviously, back in those days,
really
YouTuber wasn't even a thing back then.
You could make money from it.
Exactly.
This is a long time ago. And eventually there were some people that got very popular. A Swedish guy, you're Swedish, so you'll probably know his name, who was playing video games on YouTube. I was a big gamer at the time and I loved video. So I was like, I can do this. I can do this too. So I would stack up a couple of books, put that little video camera on top of those books and film my monitor, film my screen. And then I'd go on my computer. I would cut, that footage, make it like a little clip of 1 minute or 2 minutes and show it to my friends by uploading the video. But eventually, other people started commenting and watching this stuff.
Did that start slowly? Or all of a sudden you woke up one day and it's like, no,
I didn't really have that one viral video or that one viral hit. I didn't really have that. It started really slowly. And I think it was funny, though. You meet some people, I never knew their faces or their real names even, but you meet some people through the internet that way and you start chatting and...
was there any kind of intention behind it? It was like, okay,
no.
I'm doing this for fun. I love it, and I'm getting some feedback and all that. Or did you already have an idea it was going to be a business at all, or like?
No, not really. It was at that time. It wasn't really a business. There was no pure intention of like, hey, we can make a business from this, which obviously did become a business, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so it started growing really slowly. I think it took me 2 or 3 years to get like 2,000-3,000 followers. And keep in mind, I was very young and I had,
what age were we talking about?
Like 12, 13.
Yep.
Yeah, 15 years ago at least. And so, yeah, random people start watching it. I thought I was fun. I would post more stuff and the ball started swirling faster and faster. And before you know it, I think I was the age of 16, 17. One of the channels I had back then had 600,000 followers. Yeah. And I was so young. So what happens then? Well, random companies start reaching out to you. And they're like, hey, did you know you can make money from this?
Can you still remember the first company that reached out to you?
Yeah, they're very big.
Okay.
Their name was Machinima.
Okay.
And Machinima was one of the first companies that would reach out to content creators online.
Okay.
And would essentially link you to their advertising program.
Okay.
So because at the beginning, when Google had purchased YouTube, Google knew they could put ads on the content, but they didn't really want to be in contact with content creators themselves.
Okay.
They basically pointed fingers to a couple of agencies and said, you guys deal with it. And so one of those agencies reached out to me, and I was very young. I think I was 15 at the time. And I think these guys are bankrupt now, so I can probably say this.
Exactly.
But they gave me like the worst contract you could imagine, like a 5-year lock-in, 60% of the revenue. They took everything basically. But at the time, it was like the first time I was able to even make a cent.
Exactly. Whatever at that age, whatever they give you, it's like, hey, cool, I'm making money out of something that I'm already doing.
I didn't even know they were taking that big of a cut, to be honest. I didn't even know it was locked into a contract. I just showed my parents and they were like, yeah, here's sign. And
oh shit, he's gonna pay for his electricity bill. Sure, fine.
Yeah, exactly. So very strange, but it was a learning lesson. So yeah, that was the first company that reached out to me, and that's when the first euros started rolling in. And it wasn't much. Even with 600,000 followers back in those days, we're talking 100 euros a month or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't anything. But I was like 15.
Exactly. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
16. I was like, yeah, let's do this.
And once again, for something that you were already doing because you like doing it. It's not that it was like, hey, I'm paying you to be, I don't know, a waiter and you need to spend hours. Like, no, he's like, I love doing this. So yeah.
No, yeah. I was literally... At that age, I was literally playing video games while at school.
Exactly.
And it was awesome. But obviously, through the internet and this little business it started turning into, you meet other content creators that also got reached out to by some agencies, and they were also making some money left and right. And we're not talking about much. We're talking about very small numbers, but we were all very young, and we kind of collected together, and we became a little group, and we said, hey, we can do so much more. We can make this like, our future, which at the time sounded crazy, but we were like,
What was your parents' reaction? Did you brainstorm that with them at all, or that was like, hey, let's keep it in the space where people understand me first, and I'll bring it to my parents later?
Yeah. So I mean, my parents knew like exactly what I was doing, but I didn't really have the intention of it being anything a couple years down the line. They basically said, as long as you get your grades and as long as you show up on time for your studies and whatever, fine. And so I did. And yeah, they basically gave me complete flexibility to do whatever I wanted with that.
Perfect.
Of course, they had parental oversight, but it wasn't anything crazy either. I was literally just playing video games. Like, it wasn't anything bad.
Exactly.
And they were like, okay, this is crazy. You can make money from that, but it's not going to be a future. Like, you still need to get, what do we say, a certificate or a degree, or you need to keep studying until the age of 24.
They thought this is going to be a phase. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, so when I was 16, like I said, I met some of these other creators. We were doing decently well. And
that's not the robust group that came a lot further down the line, right?
No, it's these guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a fellow YouTuber from Amsterdam, small creator at the time, but good vision for the future of this space. And there was another British guy involved as well, and actually there were multiple people involved. And we all saw this opportunity, and so we would basically say, hey, every day after school, like 6 p.m. we'll meet and we'll work for 2 hours or 3 hours. As long as, you have your homework done and, you've got no other things to do, no other liabilities at that age anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's do this. So all of us, we met daily for about a year. And then the ball started rolling. Like that really made a big difference. Consistency started happening.
Exactly, because I mean, you already put yourself in a structure and your commitments, and you were already, putting the effort into it. So yeah.
And we had the passion, right? It came from a passion from all of us. But we realized, hey, we can get so much more out of this. Let's put some time into it. And that's when stuff started happening.
What were the major changes that you saw? Let's focus first on the content that you did.
Yeah. Well, the major changes in content, of course, the quality content increased by a lot, but more importantly, the quantity of the content increased by a lot. So before, you'd post one time a week, or one time every 2 weeks. Now we're posting daily. And we were grinding. We were grinding daily for a year. And I'm saying for a year because after a year, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit school.
That was a big moment. Yeah,
this is working.
Yeah.
We were grinding. We were grinding, but I needed more time. We were tripling our numbers by a monthly basis, and it's a snowball effect, right? And we all wanted more time, so I dropped out. My friends dropped out. All the other guys, they all dropped out, and we all just sent it, basically. Which, dropping out, I wouldn't recommend it to people that don't have something like that going on. But
come on, I needed
time.
But you already had the numbers. You had the justification for it as well. You had proof that there was something there.
I convinced my parents it's going to be a gap year if it doesn't work out. All right, so we'll try this for 1 year.
I like the intelligent psychology right there. Yeah, it's going to be a gap year. Yeah, okay.
So basically, before I was able to spend a maximum of 2 hours a day on this little business of mine. And once I dropped out, I was able to spend 13 hours, 14 hours a day on this. Just basically from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. I mean, I was young. I had no rent to pay. I had no other liabilities. My parents were doing the groceries. They were doing the cooking. I was living at home.
Exactly.
So
perfect.
Life's pretty good then.
Exactly.
Like, you got all the time in the world. And so we sent it. And about a year later, we sent it even harder. I moved in with some of these guys. And these days, you have a name for it. It's called a content house.
Okay. But back in those days, it was nothing. It's like, hey,
it was nothing. Yeah, let's
move
in together. And so instead of just being able to record online, we can also record in person. And none of us had any other liabilities. So this was our goal from the moment we woke up to the end of the day. This was all we did. And yeah, it worked.
Let's put some numbers in there. So, okay, more or less, I mean, if we're looking, let's talk followers.
Yeah.
How many followers did you had by the time you said, okay, I'm quitting school, for instance?
I think it was around like 700,000.
Okay.
800,000, yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm at 23 million. So it's pretty good.
It's not a bad growth. No, it's definitely not, yeah.
So, I'm pretty happy.
Okay. Let's talk about some peak moments throughout that process?
Yeah.
Because obviously from 700,000 to 23 million.
Yes.
I take it there have been some quite pivotal moments.
And the main one, I'll just jump to that one straight away, is the pandemic. You see, my audience, they're mostly kids between the age of 10 and 16.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, schools around the world were closed. Kids were going home. Kids had nothing to do. So what did? They grabbed their phone, their iPad, and their TV, and they watched YouTube all day. And the numbers went up by like 5 times. Like, it was insane. There's not like, I don't think I'll ever be able to hit those numbers again. It was stupid. Normally in a business like mine, you see jumps over the weekends. So Monday to Friday is low, and yet you peak on Saturdays and Sundays because this is when people are not, in school. But there was no drop. It was peak after peak after peak. Then throughout the pandemic, more schools closed down. Lockdowns start happening. Couldn't even go see your friends anymore. All they could do was play video games or watch YouTube. And of course, I profited a lot from that, which is crazy. But it's just the reality. That's the business I'm in, right? Of course, after the pandemic, we had a huge drop because, hey,
back to school,
people couldn't go back to normal life. But so that was one of my biggest peaks that year. Okay. And
how did that fit with you? All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I've gone from, I don't know, let's just put a number, from 10 to 20.
Yeah.
How does that feel from one day to another?
Well, they're just numbers on a screen, so you don't really notice it. You don't wake up different the next day. They're just numbers on a screen. But
those numbers do have an impact at the end of the month, especially I could imagine, like the amount of followers economically really does make a difference. Yeah,
of course. I mean, everything helps.
Exactly. Yeah.
So following me, for the people that don't understand, following me is free, right? So subscribing to a YouTube account is completely free. It's like following somebody on Instagram. There's no paywall. There's no nothing. I purely get a revenue share from the ads that are on top of my videos. That's basically it. I'm also not in control of the ads. Google handles everything. So, of course, the more people that are subscribing, the more people that are watching. And so, you ask me what's your follower count, or what's your following count. But to me, that's like, it's a number. It doesn't really matter. The biggest number is your view count. Okay. How many views or how many viewers have you had? How many clicks on your videos? Because that's where revenue is. On subscription, there's no revenue. So yeah, the view count during the pandemic was through the roof.
Skyrocketed. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, but funny enough, many people that, for example, if you watch YouTube on TV, like, you're most likely not even signed in. So they'll never subscribe. So like, the numbers don't really match sometimes.
What would you say is your main feature that actually make people get tagged on what you do and get excited about it and follow you and watch your videos and so forth?
Good question. So we always try to do, from day one, we always try to do things inside of games that are not easy to achieve. And I don't necessarily mean like a skill thing with that. So, for example, if we're going to compare it to a game like football, where the entire objective is to hit the ball in the goal, we would come up with stupid challenges like, hey, we're going to hit,
it's get all the red cards or
red
whatever,
cards only challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we go as crazy as possible and see if we can get all players off the field? Like, we'd come up with little challenges and little video ideas that you're not really supposed to be doing. That's not what the game is about. That's not what you're supposed to do in those games. But it works out because it makes it more interesting for content.
My impression probably is that is a lot about the chemistry. So I can imagine that obviously what you bring to your comments and the way you play and your everything that you do and the way you play and so forth is obviously a big factor in this. So obviously one part will be let's call it craziness that you do within the game itself.
Yeah.
But then I would say there is and probably a big percentage of your own personality in there.
Right. Yeah.
What would you say? Do you think it's more one side or the other?
Well, it's a beautiful combination of both because the idea, the title and the thumbnail So that's the pool, right? So that's why people click. So you need that kind of funny idea inside of a game, or even just in a video in general, to pull people towards the content. And then the content itself still needs to be good for them to watch to the end. Because if they don't watch, if they just click and they leave, YouTube's not going to promote it, right? So of course, the moment people clicked, I assume the people that watched, they felt like, hey, this is a space that I enjoy. I could watch this guy, and I am entertained, or I'll watch this while eating my breakfast. People do all kinds of things, but yeah, I guess it was entertaining, sure. It still is, I hope.
I believe so. I'll throw in my own personal experience there. My kids, I've got one at 11, one 16.
Okay.
Both of them love what you do.
Amazing.
And so obviously me as a parent is like, okay, let's see what it's all about. And I even asked them, it's like, what is it about Jelly that you love so much?
Okay.
And they would actually say, well, it's really entertaining. They love the crazy ideas that you mentioned. I mean, I think it was Fortnite that Eric was telling me about. It's like the crazy stuff that you've done in Fortnite and so forth. But then even me as a parent, I kind of liked it because, I mean, what I saw at least is very clean. I mean, it's not... I don't know. It was really entertaining and inspiring in a clean kind of way. So so for me as a parent, thank you.
Of course.
But yeah,
YouTube is full of all kinds of content.
Yeah.
But I'd say their content moderation is really good these days. But my content is considered PG. Yeah. So kids from the age of about 10 can watch it. If you're younger than 10, you could also watch it. But sometimes I'm playing video games that might not be for 10-year-olds, even though I'm not doing those things inside of those games. You could do them. Like a great example is GTA, right?
Yeah.
I actually got huge on playing GTA. Like many kids loved watching me play. But I'm not necessarily doing the crazy things the game is known for. I'm just racing cars, right? So
you seem to be pretty good at finding alternatives.
But that's kind of the trick, right? So okay, the GTA is tempting for kids because you're not really allowed to play it, but maybe we could watch it on YouTube. And I'm doing things inside of GTA that you could definitely do as a kid, but because it's GTA, you won't have access to it. Exactly. You know what I mean? So yeah, those things, they work. They work. And of course, we try to make sure that the videos are PG. There's never any swearing. There's never any edgier things because that's where my demographic is.
Exactly.
Which is also funny to mention. I've been doing this for such a long time that people that used to watch me, they were 12, 13, they might be in their 20s now. And they're not watching anymore because they've grown out of the content. They're like, well, that's too child-friendly for me. And I have that a lot these days. So I'm just like, well, okay, what do I change my content, or do I get like a second channel? I have no idea, but maybe one day I'll have to hit both audiences.
But I mean, it must be kind of, rewarding, right? Knowing that you've had people that follow you for many years. So it's not like, hey, I had this 1 or 2 videos that are interesting, and then they just dropped. But no, it's like they watch you.
Yeah, no, people watch me for a long time, which I'm very thankful for. But that all comes down to that consistency, because for 6-7 years straight, I was posting 2 videos every single day, nonstop. Every day.
Is that you or this group that the robust group that you put together, or is it
So the funny part about like these other content creators that I work with, all of us are our own business, and so we're our biggest competitors, all of us together.
Okay.
But we work together to just make each other stronger. But if he gets a click and I don't, that's a competition, right?
Okay.
So we're our own businesses. But what was my point? Yeah, we're our own businesses. So
exactly.
It is all me and my team. And with my team, I mean like the people that help me behind the scenes, like creative people that help with ideas, people that edit the content, designers, etc. But when I say like us, it's not necessarily the content creators.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was actually going to be my next question, because obviously if we just stick to the sentence that you said at the beginning, it's like, hey, what do you do? Well, I play video games for a living. Hey, it sounds very easy, simple.
Yeah.
But when you already mentioned that from the beginning, when you got together with these guys, you said, okay, we're going to meet, we're going to do this 1-2 hours a day.
Yeah.
But now you actually mentioned that you're posting twice a day, and I can imagine.
I used to.
But I mean, the logistics, the sacrifice, that It's almost
Yeah,
like
say
military.
my late teen
figure
years
this.
and basically all my 20s. I'm 28 now. Up until the age of 26, 27, I was grinding 2 videos a day. And I was really enjoying it. Slowed down a little bit now. I'm really happy where I am. I love this town. So I'm like, okay, we're going to enjoy life a little bit more. You know, it's not all about the creative space. But yeah, consistency, that is what drives any business, I would say, you know? So
Let's go back to, we'll jump into the Marbella part and how
yeah.
it fits into your journey, and Monaco, you were there
Yeah.
as well and so forth. But let's jump back to when, you were really grinding the 2 videos per day and so forth.
Yeah.
What's the day-to-day of a YouTuber, a gaming YouTuber?
Well, lonely.
I could imagine.
Yeah, yeah. I think most people don't really realize that. And I didn't really struggle with loneliness or anything like that, but it does get lonely because we're running a small business, but all the other guys I'm working with we're all working from home, even pre-COVID days. This is like, you know, this is a new industry.
So when you're recording, it's you alone. And then all the editing is done externally.
Externally, remotely, usually with contractors as well. I've had employees that do it as well, but I like to work with contractors. It's just easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're alone in your office or even in your bedroom that you turn into your office space, playing games and looking at the ideas that you can construct and make a video from. And if you want to do 2 videos a day, I mean, the average video to record was like, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours. But there's a whole lot more that comes down to like, okay, you know, we need to do some research about these ideas. Like, how do we know these ideas are going to land? And we also want to look forward, like, hey, where do we think YouTube's going to be in the next 2-3 months? Like, you know, the space is constantly developing. And so, of course, you're constantly in calls with other people, but realistically, you're inside all day. I think I ordered takeaway, or take out food.
So you're probably like
breakfast,
almost
lunch, dinner for years.
So you're a shareholder of Just Eat, basically, and the amount of money that you spend.
Yeah, yeah. If I had shares, that would have been pretty good. But yeah, you know, but I think that's kind of normal in any entrepreneur's life. There's always a stage where it's like a complete grind, and you know, people that have a business like that and they want to go fully in, they kind of try to, I don't know, how do you say it? Like they just want to corner themselves or hide and just focus.
But
right?
it's what you mentioned, because I mean, it is like it's basically entrepreneurship, right? You mentioned consistency, sacrifice, because I mean, you did sacrifice a lot of time and doing it and so forth. Market research, thinking about what YouTube's going to look like in X amount of months and so forth. That's why I think it's an interesting vision, because you always think, oh, when you talk to the younger generation, oh no, I'm going to be a YouTuber that's really easy and it's going to be plenty of money and I'm going to work like a half an hour a day.
That's the perspective, or that's how people look at it. But it's because anybody could post a video on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So of course you can upload a video on YouTube. It's quite easy. You just record it on your phone, click upload. But try getting views on it, and then try getting views on it again and again and again, and building an audience that come back for you on a daily basis or even twice a day. It's not easy to maintain it. And also that's one of the reasons I slowed down as well. You know, you just get too fed up with it. It's not easy. It's not easy. Running a business isn't easy.
No, exactly. But then, especially yours, that must be running a lot of inspiration, and because I mean, there must have been certain moments when you're like, "Oof, I'm not in the right mental space. I'm not in the right mood." Any tricks or that you've used personally to get over those, or?
Well, I mean, when I was like really grinding in my early 20s. I wasn't taking care of my physical health at all, eating like crap, not working out.
Oh, takeouts
and late nights, late mornings too. You wake up at like 1 p.m. Terrible. I wouldn't recommend. It's not good for your mental
it's
or
a learning curve
health.
as well, isn't it? Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was also young, of course, but like going to the gym and focusing on a healthy diet, those things, and actually taking like just writing down, okay, today I'm gonna stop working at 9 or at 8 or 7, you know, like we're done. Let's just quit. No matter like what I'm doing, we should just like have 2 or 3 hours where we just zone off. You know? Stuff like that. that helped.
How is it to balance personal life? Because that obviously becomes what
Yeah.
was your personal life before, and the thing that you love becomes work.
Yeah.
And then how do you balance that with your personal, purely personal life? You said it was very lonely at some point, because
Yeah.
I could imagine that the professional part just took over completely.
Of course, yeah.
But obviously now, as you mentioned, different age, so now you're putting things into perspective, taking care of your health. What are your tricks for that?
Oh, good question. You just need to surround yourself with the right people, right? And not people that try to distract you in ways like, hey, we should go out, and the next day your next day is ruined. Those are not the right people. You just want to surround yourself with people that love to go for breakfast.
Just that. I need to get up on time. I need to
Reason to get up and go do something, or a gym buddy, or a great partner. My girlfriend, she does the same thing. Like, we're in the same business.
Okay.
Which is really helpful, actually, because we completely understand each other.
She understands everything. Yeah.
But she has her own business, but we're in the same business.
Okay.
Right? So, I don't know. Surround yourself with the right people, and that'll just help to, make you focus on the right things, I guess.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So your journey started obviously in the small town in Holland.
Yep.
Then obviously, was it directly to Monaco? Or, yeah. Okay. How did that happen?
Yeah, no. So I had a family member who lived in Monaco.
Oh, okay.
And so we went for a visit once, just for a little tourist trip. And I was young, and they basically convinced us, you should move here.
Perfect.
And like I mentioned, I had zero liabilities, right? I was
why
young.
not? Yeah, sure.
I didn't have anything. I mean, I had my own place at the time. I'd moved out of my parents' house. But apart from paying rent to my landlord in Holland, we basically changed it. Let's pay rent to my landlord in Monaco because, well, I'm inside all day anyway. There's no lifestyle change. I was grinding. I was focusing on content. Of course, Monaco is a beautiful place, just like this city. And we definitely did enjoy it over there. So actually, I'd say like living in Monaco helped me to leave the house a little bit more often. Because my Dutch town where I come from was also kind of boring, There was nothing to do.
And you've been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know every single street. You know.
So
everything.
yeah, it was like being on holiday but living on holiday. But like your house still felt like your home. It was nice. It was pretty good.
Very cool. How long time were you there?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, I lived there for 6 years. But of course, it has its constraints. The place is absolutely tiny.
Yeah.
I didn't speak any French, and the family member we did have there. He's more like distant family, so we weren't like extremely close. We're good, but it wasn't like my parents were around the corner, all my best friends were around the corner, and that's also why we moved out.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what point? How did Marbella fall on the map?
So my partner, she's from here. She grew up
really?
here.
Okay.
Yeah. She grew up here. I wasn't born here, but was raised here.
Yeah.
So she has her family here, her friends here, and throughout the years we've been together for a really long time. I've of course had like a base down here as well, but we didn't live here. But so eventually we decided, okay, let's leave Monaco and focus a little bit more on friends and family. And so we moved here. Yeah. And actually, what's weird? Like, we have the same restaurants.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like, Monaco is like a big Puente Romano, basically. You have all the nice restaurants that you have in Puente Romano. You have them all in Monaco. But Marbella is nicer, particularly in winter, because people actually live here. Like in Monaco, people are everywhere all the time. But people like live here and they have their base here. And it's comfortable here. It's nice. It's not dead, which Monaco tends to be in the winter. It was pretty quiet.
How long have you been here now?
So I've lived here for about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah. I've lived here like full time for about a year.
How are you feeling it?
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known everybody for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been here a lot.
But it's different
But as a
live.
tourist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I do like it.
What are the things you most appreciate?
Well, obviously the climate is the biggest plus.
Yeah.
But actually the location is fantastic too. The airport is amazing. So I tend to travel for work, right? Meet my other content creator buddies or a brand I'm working with. They want me here or there. And it's easy to get there. Yes, you're in this like most southern part of Europe, but the airport flies multiple times a day to London, multiple times a day to Amsterdam. So it's really accessible. So is Monaco, but still, you're not in the middle of nowhere here.
Exactly.
And actually, what I love about Marbella is the big international scene. Like, I'm learning Spanish. I've only been here for a year, but like you don't need Spanish here. Like you don't. You're still in Spain. I
it's a
love the
Marbella
Spanish
thing,
culture,
yeah, exactly.
but you don't necessarily need the language to survive here. Which in Monaco you definitely needed French. It was much more complicated.
Do you travel a lot for work?
Yeah, we do. When I want to, I guess. But definitely less this year. I've just noticed like, hey, it's nice to just not travel all the time, but we do travel. Mostly London when it is work.
Okay.
But I had a trip to the US as well, and Malaga flies straight to New York. So
Yeah, true.
fantastic.
Yeah. Do you go to the States often, or that was just a one-off thing, or?
It's not a one-off thing. It's like a 2-3 time per year, probably. 1 year more than the other year, I guess.
Is that work or pleasure normally?
Usually work,
Okay.
and we mix it with a little bit of pleasure.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, for example, we had a trip. We had to go to LA. There was an event there, a venue we had to go to, and then we also went to Vegas. So we had a couple days of fun and a couple days of work.
It's always a good.
But work is still fun because it's my passion. So
Exactly.
yeah.
What's the future look like? What do you
Good question.
what do you got brewing?
Well, so in my business space, my business is constantly evolving. Like I said, I'm in the gaming space. There's new games being released every single day. However, there's one game on the map that all game developers in the world are scared for. And it's the new title from Rockstar Games called GTA 6. For the people that don't know, GTA 5, their last version of this game was released 13 years ago. So it's been 13 years with a new Grand Theft Auto game, a new GTA. And they've had it in production for this long. And it's the most money that a company has ever spent on building a single video game. And it is going to be the biggest game of the year. And why am I saying video game companies are scared of this game? Because they don't want to release their titles like when this thing's coming out.
Of course. So everybody's kind of stand by seeing when it's going to be released.
Absolutely. So, for example, the original release date was supposed to be this year, 2025, October, November. I don't remember the exact day.
Mm-hmm.
But so game developers, they decided, okay, we're going to delay our title 6 months. You know, most people buy one big game a year. These games, they cost $100 these days.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're up to maybe sometimes more if you want a special something. So everybody delayed their games, but then Rockstar, the developers of GTA 6, they delayed their title to May next year. And so now everybody's rushing to get their games out this year. So that is what I am fueling up for now.
When they launch these games, obviously they get involved with you guys. I mean, you must be a main channel of,
You think, right?
Okay, so they don't.
It depends on the game developer.
Okay.
Rockstar, nicest people in the world,
Yeah.
but they don't.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So
I
you think maybe
actually like it that they don't, because
Okay.
they want to make it fair for everybody.
Okay.
So all content creators, we get the game at the same time as normal people. So we don't actually get this game early.
Okay. Okay.
We
Then,
don't.
then it's honest, true first impressions,
Exactly.
live reactions, and so forth.
Exactly. And nobody gets to record videos before the game is out and drop them the moment the embargo drops, right? So everybody is in the same playing field. But for some video games, content creators get, favorited or gifts here and there, and maybe the title even a month early. And, it makes them stand out and get content out before everybody else. And so for GTA 6 particularly, I love that they're not giving anybody special treatment, as far as I know of anyway.
Okay.
As far as I know of. I know journalists get special treatment. They usually tend to get the game a couple days early or a week early to write about it and review it, but not content creators. We're not considered journalists. So obviously they want to sell. Through my content, they might not sell any games. I might. But on top of that, I will say, for me, it's actually good if I don't get it, because they'll give me a contract saying like, hey, you can't say this and this and this. You can't say this and this and this. We don't want you to say anything bad about it. But if I sign that deal, I'm stuck forever with some kind of restriction on my content.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm not restricted to do whatever I want. I want to have creative freedom on all titles I record.
Which you've proven that you have in
I have
a
creative
big
freedom, yeah.
supply. Yeah, exactly.
Of course, when you work with an agency and a brand comes up to you and they want to work with you because it's a new game, you don't have creative freedom. But generally speaking, for my own content, I have creative freedom, of course. Yeah.
For the younger generation who are looking up at you, and obviously they watch you a lot, spend a lot of time watching you, I obviously understand that comes with a certain degree of responsibility on your side as well. Do you ever feel that weight at all, or you think that you've been doing it for such a long time, it just comes naturally that and you need to be you to do it?
Well, good question. Of course, there's a sense of responsibility, but what I'm doing is never live. So we always have a team checking the content, making sure that it fits between our standards, and nothing ever goes live that, isn't supposed to go live. That never happened, as far as I remember. Maybe once or twice, but it was taken down quickly. But of course, so no, the responsibility part, of course, it's there, but it's not necessarily there when you record, because I want to be like a free spirit. I want to just do whatever I want. And then the editor makes sure it fits the package. That's kind of what we do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
For the younger generation who are thinking, it's like, hey, I want to be a YouTuber or something.
Yeah.
What one single thing would you say is the thing that they're not taking into account that they would, once they have it on top, it's like, okay, fine, you're a YouTuber, but you never thought that this would come into place? Some kind of limitation or amount of work or anything.
Yeah.
What would be you think is like, they like the beauty part, like everything.
Yeah.
It's sunshine and great, and the money and so forth.
Yeah.
But what would you highlight the things that maybe they're not thinking of?
Well, being a YouTuber does take a lot of time. And you need the time to stay on top of trends and to remain consistent. If you're not going to be able to have that time, if you won't have that time because you're studying, for example, you're at school, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And you might not succeed. But it is also a skill that takes years to master, like playing sports, or anything. It takes a long time to be comfortable in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. Comfortable speaking into a microphone, and it takes a long time to learn a video game as well to be really, really good at something. You gotta do all those things, and so that's why it takes so much time to not only get there, but once you've got like a little bit of a foundation and a channel that you have some consistency with it, you need to keep that up to eventually start growing an audience.
In your experience, what's been harder, getting there or maintaining it?
Maintaining it.
Maintaining it.
Yeah, maintaining is harder. Yeah, 100%.
Really cool.
I don't know why. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Getting to 23 million took me what is it now? Like 15 years. So that didn't just happen, right? And there was never a moment that I got 1 million followers in a day. So it was a long, slow climb. Even though we're at 23 million now, it's a long, slow climb. So getting there doesn't really feel like that. It's the maintaining part, making sure it never curves downwards, which of course it has. It comes in waves at all times.
Of course.
But that's maintaining is the hardest part for sure.
So many years doing, 2 per day.
Yeah.
There must be at least a couple of memories of highlight points that you said, like, yeah, that one you mentioned, obviously, COVID was the...
pandemic was the biggest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But any particular video, any particular moment, or any particular clip that you're proud of, that you have a fond memory of?
Oh, that's a good question. We played Grand Theft Auto, one of the most brutal games you could possibly think of, without breaking any real laws. So
you were driving properly?
Cars,
and okay.
Right? So we had to go to the shop and we had to buy a car, get an insurance, and just deal with all the mess. And of course, not break the speed limit, wait for the traffic lights.
Completely going against the core of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we mentioned before. We play the game and we do like a weird, funny challenge. And it was super entertaining because the game isn't written to do this. Yeah. And so like the NPCs, which are like the robot, the players walking around, they didn't really understand. They would crash into me. It's just like, you're going too slow. Or
exactly.
They wouldn't even wait for the traffic lights. It's a really funny video, to be honest. It's a really funny video because you're just doing stupid stuff that you're not supposed to do. And it's completely harmless too,
Exactly.
Playing one of the most brutal games.
And doing like a more ethical approach that you could ever think of.
Yeah.
And still,
They were not breaking any laws, guys. We're not doing any.
really cool.
It worked.
Yeah.
Actually, my biggest video was being a police officer inside of GTA.
That's your biggest video ever.
That's my biggest video ever. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's where I played Grand Theft Auto, again, an 18+ game where you can literally drive over players, okay? But I was a police officer, like a legitimate police officer. We had downloaded modifications to make sure that I could be a police officer. I would get calls up when there was an arrest had to take place, or there was a criminal on the run, or a heist that happened, or somebody's car got stolen, and I had to solve the matter. I had to solve the problems.
Oh, that's really cool.
So yeah, those are like fun things that we do, and that really does well.
Future-wise,
Yeah.
Because obviously you've got such, you are who you are. You've got this image of yourself and so forth, and you've got so many people who follow what you do. Ever thought about? Because I think you do something in retail as well, or
you mean like merchandising?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Or you're hinting towards like, what about going into another business?
Exactly.
Yeah. So there are many creators that successfully are able to create another business on the side using their audience. Greatest example would be Logan Paul and KSI. They've got a famous drink called Prime, which even if you've never heard of these guys, every supermarket you go to, anywhere in the world, you'll see this little plastic can, little plastic thing called Prime. Another example is Feastables. I think it's like top 10 best-selling chocolate right now in the world. It's owned by Mr. Beast. So yes, of course, like it's attractive for a content creator to use your space and the audience that you have to try and grow a business on the side, but it's really hard.
Okay.
I have tried it. It didn't go very well.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe in the future I'll try it again. I've always wanted to, and we had some samples and some prototypes and some things laid out for it, but I scrapped it. I've always wanted to, create like a fruit candy kind of thing with literally like just jellies, little jellies.
Oh.
Why not?
Of course.
But it's just like my audience is so spread out. So it's really, really hard to make something like that happen. And so you'd have to start online. I mean, all of these guys have started online with selling their products through a website, but who will buy like candy, like just a little small box of candy online? It's expensive to buy that online too. So never really happened, but who knows? Maybe in the future.
Yeah. So future's still a mystery for you.
Yeah. But
where...
that's kind of fun though. I kind of, I'm kind of still in the middle of this business, and things are going well, and I'm kind of waiting for the next big thing. So I'm going to jump on that. We started earlier this year with preparing the team, making sure we have some more contractors on board that are going to be able to, deliver the best quality content possible for when this game comes out. We need to go hard. I mean, I'm not locking myself into a room right now. I'm a little bit more free. I'm going out for breakfast, lunch. I'm doing fun things.
But when
that thing comes out for 6 months straight, it's going to be a grind. And I can't wait for that because it's been a long time since a new title has given me that hype.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
You see yourself in Marbella?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I like it here.
Yeah?
I like it here.
If it were
We moved down here for family and friends.
Yeah.
But it's a great international community.
Yeah.
It's, I think, one of the nicest, if not the nicest place in Europe to live, where you have such a nice international community with the weather. I mean, of course, you can move to London.
It helps.
You can move to London if you want to, right? Plenty of people in my business are in London. And it would probably be good for my business to live in London because you get more invites to brand events and all those kind of things. Good to show your face. But would I enjoy myself there? Probably not.
And once again, don't you think there is a certain atmosphere in Marbella that kind of makes you focus on your health as well?
100%. The health culture is crazy here.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
it's all about playing paddle. There's literally a paddle tournament going on right now.
How are you doing with paddle, by the way?
Not too good.
Not too good.
Yeah, I've done like maybe 20 sessions, 25 sessions. I'm kind of jumping on golf right now. I'm doing a lot of golfing lessons because, I mean, there's, I don't know how many golf courses here, 25, 30 just in Marbella. I have no idea how many. It's a big number. So it's nice. And then you add in the nature as well. And during the summer, you got the beach. I mean, the whole year you got the beach, but...
Yeah.
It's a bit too cold in the winter times, but
Well, you can still play paddle though.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And not just that, the food here, like the food is very health focused.
Yeah.
Especially if you live in a small town, growing up in small cities, it's usually not very health focused, right? More fast food vibes. In bigger cities, there's a lot more options, but Marbella is not really a big city, but because it's a tourist industry, got so many restaurants.
Yeah.
I like it.
And good ones.
And good ones, yeah. And you got the pool, of course. Very good benefit.
Yeah, of course. I mean, at what point did you actually consider the pool? How did that fall into your plate?
I can't even remember, but I've known about the pool for quite a long time. I used to do my groceries down here in El Corte Inglés.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think I just, it kept my eye open. And when we moved down here, I'm like, okay, let's go to the pool.
Okay.
This makes sense.
So
and
you
it's
had
another reason.
You had heard about it before you actually came to live in Marbella?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but because we came down for, visiting friends and family
Exactly.
quite some times. But yeah, so I have heard of the pool for a couple of years.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here.
Exactly. You're sitting down talking with me.
Yeah, of course. The CEO.
It's the way. It's the way of life. Yeah, it's really interesting. Jelly, I would like to finish just saying that first of all, obviously, thank you for your time. I know you're extremely busy.
No worries.
I mean,
well, I'm just waiting for the next big
exactly. Maybe when GTA 6 comes out, then maybe we will not have had the time to do this.
No.
So I'm thankful for that.
I hope not, because then I'm doing what I want to do.
Probably. But as I mentioned before, I mean, this has been a very different podcast for me because obviously you do fit a different profile.
Of course.
But I think it's really interesting, and I'm really appreciative that the fact that because I'm a big promoter of this new Marbella, attracting people who come here to do business, which is obviously your case, and you're doing everything from here. So it's something that I'm proud of, and that the fact that Marbella fits so well into people with your profile and so forth. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Of course.
And I hope to keep seeing you around, that you keep enjoying Marbella.
Of course. I'm definitely going to be here for some time.
Perfect.
It's nice. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you.